3 seconds. That was all it took for my entire marriage to change completely. If you have ever felt invisible inside your own home, or if you have ever loved someone who slowly treated you like a complete stranger, stay with me. Because what happened after I silently canceled our anniversary turned my wife's world upside down. My name is Ethan Carter. I was 36, a quiet architect with a habit of always putting everyone else's happiness before my own. My wife, Vanessa Carter, was 34, stunning, ambitious, and incredibly successful as a senior marketing executive for a luxury fashion brand. We had been married for 6 years. People truly believed we were the ideal couple. They were dead wrong. The distance began so subtly. At first, Vanessa blamed work stress, then business trips, then pure exhaustion. I understood because I deeply loved her. Every time she canceled our dinner plans or barely glanced at me while scrolling on her phone, I convinced myself that things would improve. But months dragged on. Eventually, something inside me began to shatter. I realized I was always the only one making an effort. I bought fresh flowers, I arranged romantic date nights, I sent thoughtful messages. Most of the time, I received simple one-word replies. One evening, I made reservations at her favorite Italian restaurant. She just looked at me and sighed. "Ethan, can we please skip this tonight? I'm exhausted." I forced a smile and said, "Of course." Then I sat alone in that quiet restaurant, eating dinner for two, while the waiter kept glancing at the empty chair across from me. It was deeply embarrassing. Still, our anniversary was approaching, and I believed this special day might finally fix us. I spent 2 secret weeks planning every single detail: a private rooftop dinner, live violin music, her favorite white roses, and a custom necklace engraved with our wedding date. I spent thousands of dollars hoping she might remember who we used to be. 3 days before our anniversary, I heard her laughing loudly in the living room while on the phone with her friend Mia. I was not trying to eavesdrop, but then I heard my own name. "Ethan is probably planning some dramatic anniversary gesture," Vanessa laughed. Mia chuckled along. "Just act surprised then." Vanessa sighed deeply. "Honestly, I just don't have the energy for all this relationship stuff right now." I froze in place. Relationship stuff? 6 years of sacred marriage had been reduced to relationship stuff. I quietly turned and walked away. That night, I sat alone in my car outside our home for nearly an hour, constantly replaying her words. Then, for the very first time in months, I stopped making excuses for her. I opened my phone and canceled the rooftop reservation, canceled the violinist, canceled the roses, and canceled everything. I said absolutely nothing. Our anniversary arrived. Vanessa walked downstairs looking radiant in a beautiful black dress, a slight smile on her face. "Are we leaving soon?" I looked up calmly from my morning coffee. "Leaving?" Her expression instantly shifted. "For our anniversary dinner." I stared back at her with complete composure. "Oh, I canceled it." Heavy silence filled the room. "What?" "I canceled everything." She blinked in utter disbelief. "What do you mean you canceled it?" I simply shrugged. "You seemed completely exhausted by all that relationship stuff." All the color instantly drained from her face. For a long moment, she just stared at me. "You heard that?" I casually took a sip of coffee. "Yeah." Her eyes widened with panic. "Ethan, I didn't mean—" I stood up, grabbed my car keys, and said, "I have to get to work." Then I walked out the door. I intentionally ignored her calls all day. 5 missed calls turned into 10, then 23. When I returned home that evening, I found Vanessa sitting on the couch. Her makeup was ruined, and her eyes were bloodshot and swollen from crying. She stood up immediately. "Ethan, please." I remained completely silent. "I have been terrible." I stared directly at her. For months, I begged for your attention. For months, I felt completely alone right beside my own wife. After months of being rejected, she suddenly cared only because I stopped chasing her. Tears rolled down her face. I thought you would always be there. I offered a small, solemn smile. That is the real problem, Vanessa. She looked down in shame. I got too comfortable. I nodded slowly. No, you got too comfortable losing me. For the first time in our marriage, I simply walked past her, not angry, not yelling, just completely exhausted. Behind me, I heard her quietly sobbing. Because sometimes revenge is not about cheating. Sometimes revenge is not about screaming. Sometimes the most painful thing you can possibly do is simply stop fighting for someone who stopped fighting for you.